Hey, it's Marcella Friel here. I'm the founder of the Women Food and Forgiveness Academy, and today I want to talk with you about how to love and forgive yourself, your food, and your figure without ever dieting again. Let's do it. If you are a woman who is like so many of the women I work with, you are a health conscious midlife woman. You're probably facing some kind of change in your life. You're getting ready to retire. You're recently retired. Your young adult children are on their own or they're about to fledge the nest. And you are starting to think, okay, I've raised my kids, I've done my career, and now it's time for me. But you are looking in the mirror and you are loathing what you see. And sometimes you even think your body is disgusting. And you know by now that diets are not the answer. You've probably done a million diets, you're sick of dieting, but yet at the same time, there's some little part of your mind that is thinking the next diet is going to do the trick. The reason why you are not getting the results that you are looking for is because you are still thinking that your food is the problem or that your body appearance is the problem, right? In fact, I will bet that you even think that you are the problem. So you beat yourself up relentlessly for every cookie you put in your mouth, or you obsess mercilessly over every pound you gain or lose. And all the while, you're telling yourself, maybe it's my genes because my mother and my grandmother were like this, or maybe it's my karma. Maybe the universe is punishing me. Maybe I'm just destined to struggle with this. And you're probably also feeling some sense of doom or some sense of being condemned by the universe for having this problem in the first place. You're also probably telling yourself that you should be able to figure this out on your own. And you're probably using the fact that you can't figure this out on your own as yet another reason to beat yourself up mercilessly. But if you stop and think about it, how can you possibly come up with a sustainable solution to these problems when all you are doing is telling yourself how wrong you are? So, if this sounds like you, the first thing I want to do is invite you to place one or both hands on your heart and to just bring your attention inward. And let me just say to you, my darling lady, my dear sister, there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing bad about you. Your struggles with food and your body image are not your fault. There have just been things in the way, and we can move them out of the way as you find the courage and the willingness and the strength to allow them to be. What if your struggles with your food and your body image are in fact not the problem, but rather they're the solution? Okay. So I bet this is something you've probably never heard before, right? Like, how could this possibly be the solution? Okay, stick with me through the end of this video, and I guarantee you that by the time we complete this, you will understand this. And not only will you understand it, I will also give you some simple instruction in the tool of EFT tapping to help you actually begin to make headway in really solving these issues at the level at which they occur. Before we go any further, though, I do have one caveat, which is what I'm going to give you here is not 30 days to the perfect beach body. It's not, get in shape for bikini season, and it's not take the pill or the meal replacement bar or the shake or any of that. Like, it's none of that. So if you are looking for a quick fix, which in my opinion almost always leads to a quick crash, but if that's what you're looking for, then this is a great time to log off of this video and just, okay, thanks, Marcella, see you later. But if you really want to solve these issues at the level of your soul, at the level of your root, then stick with me because I've got the goods for you. Okay, so let's go back to this idea that your struggles with food and your struggles with your body image are not the problem, but rather they're the solution. So if you think for a moment about your last worst binge, okay? And just think about that. Just reflect on it for a moment. And then think about what was happening that led up to that binge. So for example, let's say, okay, this is a common one. Let's say you didn't eat breakfast and you worked your way through lunch, and then it's the end of the day and you're famished and you're at the supermarket and you buy some bags of chips to quote unquote tide you over until you get home for supper. Or let's say you're sitting in an office meeting and you're totally bored and there's a plate of donuts there and you're telling yourself like, I don't want to eat these donuts, but then the plate comes around and you say, okay, screw it. It's just one, the heck with it, who cares? Uh, or let's say you have a habit of one glass of wine too many at the end of the day. So, you might have something that looks like this, or your situation might be completely different. But here's what I know, again, from all the work that I've done with the women I've worked with. So if you look back and you trace back, where did that binge actually begin? So probably, you know this quite well, that when you are about to engage in a binge, there's a little flash of your consciousness that says to you, you really shouldn't do that, right? Don't do that. You know that donut is not going to be good for you. Don't take that bag of chips, just wait until you get home. And then there's a part of you that says, shh, right? It's like, stop, like, don't even tell me that. In other words, what we do is we bypass our deeper knowing. We betray our deeper knowing, right? There's the part of you that knows this is not good. And in order to make that binge happen, you have to bypass that to get that food into your mouth. So right there, if you look at that moment, you can see how the food becomes the solution. And what it becomes a solution for is your attempt to meet an unmet need. So at the end of the workday, you need to relax, you reach for the glass of wine. You're in the supermarket, you're really hungry, you need some nourishment, you go for the chips, etc. You're sitting in a meeting and you're really bored and you go for the donut. So here is what we do in these situations, is that we tend to confuse what we actually need with what we want. And we think that getting what we want will give us what we need. And of course, that doesn't work only about 100% of the time, right? If you really want to heal your food struggles at the root, the task becomes, how do I understand my needs, acknowledge my needs, meet my needs, and satisfy my needs in a way that is genuinely sustainable, such that I no longer need these kind of compensatory things to try to meet my needs when they never will meet my needs. So at this point, I can hear some of you saying, okay, Marcella, got it. I'm just going to get to learn about my needs. Thank you very much. It doesn't quite work that way. Because in order to become a student of your needs, you have to become okay with having needs in the first place. Okay, and this is where a lot of us, especially as women, where we can get really caught in negative core beliefs that we formed early in our life in response to traumatic and stressful experiences. Beliefs like, I don't deserve to have needs. It's not safe to have my needs met. Maybe it's not safe to be visible. Maybe I'm not such a good person. Maybe I'm not really lovable. Do you see? So this is where the tool of EFT tapping comes in. So this is the tool that I use in my work with the women in my Women Food and Forgiveness Academy. And EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, or tapping, is a very simple, easy to learn self-help tool that helps to dissipate the emotional charge and the emotional distress that we experience connected to stressful situations. So EFT tapping involves fingertip tapping on points that are at or near the ends of certain acupuncture meridians. And that tapping acts like a circuit breaker on the electromagnetic signal of the distress, and it helps to diffuse that energy. One of the things that makes tapping extremely effective is that we are working directly with the subconscious mind, and we're working directly with the midbrain, with the limbic system of the brain where traumatic memories and stress and trauma are stored. And we can go right in there and downregulate it and release that distress. So having a neurological repatterning tool like tapping is really, really beneficial when you are trying to work with deeply entrenched, deeply habituated self-harming patterns like binge eating or yo-yo dieting or sugar addiction or body shaming. Because within minutes, within seconds sometimes, things you've been holding on to for years, it's like a whole house of cards can just come tumbling down. Because this part of the brain where the trauma is stored is actually older than language. And this is part of the reason why you can talk about it and you can talk about it and you can talk about it, but you never break through and get to the other side. So what the tapping does is it actually separates the food from your feelings about the food. It separates your body from your judgments about your body. It creates room for you to pause when you're at the supermarket and you're looking at that bag of chips, and you actually have enough settledness in your nervous system to look at those chips and say, I've done this before and I know where this is going to lead. If I'm really hungry, maybe I'll just get a piece of fruit or some nuts or something that is more supportive of where I want to be in my health and my wellness goals and my vision for my life. I am really happy and extremely proud and very humbled actually to share with you the successes that my students have had in my Women Food and Forgiveness Academy. So if you watch some of the videos beneath this one, you will hear amazing stories of transformation from women who have really rolled up their sleeves and dug in to do the hard work to release these struggles at the soul level. So if you watch the video with Sandy in it, you will hear her tell an amazing story of how she released her addiction to Good and Plenty candy, like within minutes. And she's actually telling that story 2 years after she was able to release that addiction using the tool of EFT tapping. You'll also hear Leslie talking about being at one of the lowest points in her life when she was actually jobless, homeless, just out of her second divorce. Her life was an absolute train wreck. And it was actually through doing the work of tapping that enabled her to ground herself enough to begin planning her meals and taking her boxed lunch to work every day. You'll also hear Georgia talking about how she has come to relate to her needs in a whole new way as a result of doing the work in the academy. You'll also hear Gail talking about her truly, truly miraculous recovery, healing from childhood abuse that would bring any of us to our knees. And now she just laughs and says, it's over, grandpa's gone. It's truly amazing. When Barb came into the academy, she didn't need to lose physical weight, but Barb was carrying a ton of emotional weight from taking care of everybody else except herself, and then eating the foods that she knew were not so good for her. And you'll hear Barb at age 65 being happy, joyous, and free for the first time in her life. And then Bev, like so many other women in the academy, has made miraculous turnarounds in every area of her life, from doing tapping work combined with really connecting in to absolute, complete, unconditioned self-love, no matter what. In each of these videos below, you will hear these women speak so lovingly and passionately about the impact the community of the Academy has had on them. So before we go any further, I want to invite you again to just take a moment, place one or both hands on your heart, and just reflect on what you've heard so far. And just consider, what are you taking away that feels valuable to you? So I bet that I have presented a perspective on healing your food and body love struggles that maybe you haven't heard before. And perhaps what you're hearing is giving you a little spark of hope and possibility that you actually can do this. But here's what I know for sure. Without consistent support, everything that you are hearing in this video will become, as soon as you turn this video off, as soon as we're done, it's just going to go into the pile of one more thing that didn't work. I would love to see you cross over into that miracle zone, like so many of my Academy women have, where you can actually have one or two bites of chocolate and leave the rest of it because you don't really want it, you don't really need it. I would love to see you plan your meals, not because you feel like you should, but because you're actually taking joy in taking care of yourself that way. I would love to see you pursue the creative things that you have been thinking about for decades while you've been busy raising the kids and being in the marriage and taking care of your aging parents. And I would love to see you finally give yourself some room for you to have your time in this third act of your life. So I would love to stand behind you as you develop these skills and you grow and deepen in your self-love and your self-worth and your self-value. If you would like to explore whether that would work for you to have me standing behind you in that way, where together we look in awe as your life transforms before your eyes, I have an invitation for you. Take advantage of my free 45-minute illumination call, one-on-one, you and me. We can talk about your visions for healing, what you want to accomplish in the next 6 to 12 months, and we can explore whether the Women, Food, and Forgiveness Academy is a fit for you. There is absolutely no obligation to buy anything. This is a service that I am happy to give to you. So if you are feeling a yes to this, I want to invite you once again, click on that button and let's schedule a time to talk. Okay, this is Marcella here, sending you so much love. Thank you for watching this to the end and for spending this time with me. I hope we get a chance to connect, and I look forward to midwifing you on your journey of healing. Bye for now.